And secondly, for a microphone that works.
Yeah! Hallelujah! You're saved!
I had a request, so I'm going to honor that request. Chris asked me to keep it short like him. So I will.
Too late, already done.
First off, I hope everyone's having a good time and enjoyed the weekend. It's coming to a close all too quickly as it usually does, but we do appreciate you coming out and spending time with us. A few years ago, we started the Agent of the Year program, and it's been a very good program. It gives us a chance to recognize the agents that grow their business and put the effort into improving themselves and their company, and we thought it was appropriate to recognize those and spend some time talking about that. But before we get in that tonight, I'm going to turn it over to Mike Riccio, who has a few other agents that he'd like to recognize for some other accomplishments. Thanks.
Love this microphone. As you know, it's been a challenging year. It has been a year, quite honestly, of flat revenue growth and flat to steady margin. It's been, I don't need to tell you guys the challenges that are occurring in trying to cover freight. You guys live it, breathe it every single day. But there are several offices that we really wanted to acknowledge that not only grew their revenue, some of these offices grew their revenue, some of these offices met or exceeded their Leonards margin. Leonards has our average margin in these offices exceeded that. And then there's a couple that managed to do both. So there are a few offices that I'd like to acknowledge that increased their revenue. Fred Chambers increased his revenue 14%. Miss Kim Barnes increased her revenue 10%. The folks at Cage, Eric, Lynn Marie, Brendan, Bob, who else? John, Jan, 3%. Mr. Dana Quackenbush, 11%. Which is, as the folks, 11%. $800,000. That's a lot of money. Kim, you want to hear it again? 10%. Okay, so we want to acknowledge those folks who also increased their margin, who met or exceeded Leonard's average margin. Dan Linetti, the folks in New Jersey, did that. Miss Kim Barnes did that. The folks at Cage, because they've got someone in the back office now that is listening to their conversation, so they exceeded that. There you go. And the folks down in Florida, Mr. Dana Quackenbush also did that. And someone who's not here, Bud Norris also did that, who's not here, who was unable to be here. So, could I have Kim Barnes stand up? Could I have the folks at Cage, everybody that works at Cage, please stand up. Please stand. Please stand if you worked at Cage. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. All right. Wait, Dana, and I'd like Dana and Susan to stand up. Dana, Susan. These three offices not only grew their revenue this year, they exceeded and improved upon Leonard's margin in an extremely difficult economic year. And they really should be acknowledged for their hard work, and we truly appreciate it. Nice job, guys.
All right, thank you, Mike. I have a lawyer joke, but I decided, since John was so nice in the presentation he gave for us today, and enlightened us to the way things are in the legal world, that I will pass on the lawyer joke. So thank you, Jen. At this time, I'd like to ask my dad to come up to present the Agent of the Year award.
Good evening, everybody. This is really a great time for me, a great night for me. I get to make the presentation of the Agent Award, the Agent of the Year Award. And this agent and the personnel in that agency has been with us pretty close to the beginning, early 80s. And this is kind of going to give it away of who it's going to be, but I can tell you the first office that they had, it was an employee office, and it was right alongside of a bar in Florida. And when I would call down there and they would answer the phone, I would either hear the pool balls or I would hear the jukebox, and we didn't have the computers then, so I could look to see what the hell they were doing. So all I could do was to imagine what they were doing. But you know, this when we first, back in the early 1980s, when we first running our trucks down to Florida, I was looking for somebody down there to run these things. And I had a person in mind. I gave him a call, and this was still when regulation was regulation. And this gentleman really didn't have a lot of faith in us that we could pull off what I said we were going to do. So he says, "I don't want to go to work for you, but why don't you hire my son?" So I said, "Well, let me hook him up with me." He was driving truck, messed around hauling potatoes back and forth, and some potatoes out of Maine and different things. And so anyway, I interviewed him, I hired him, and I can tell you, at the same time we hired another salesman down there about the same age, and boy, I had my hands full. That's the best way I can put it. I had my hands full with these two guys. And you know, Connie was working in that office down there, and boy, she had her hands full keeping track of these two guys. But I can tell you that it's my pleasure to make this award tonight, Quack Transport in the Quackenbush.
You know, I took a chance on a 21-year-old kid that was driving a 75 Cavalry Mac and said, we're going to open office in Florida. We're going to try it for 6 months. And if it doesn't work, you might have to get back in that Cavalry Mac. And I don't think I need to tell everybody all the changes and everything that we've gone through, but we're still in Florida.
Yay.
And, the family has really, I feel like part of the family. I really do. And, you know, my second dad, and I seen the kids, knew the kids when they were this tall, and look where we are now. I remember when we started Leonards. He says, I don't know how the hell we're ever going to make this thing work. Again, look where we are now. But I really, really appreciate that. I've got tears in my eyes, and we've come a long ways. And, you know, I'd like to still be a part of it, you know, a long, long time. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, and that's certainly well deserved.
Good job. Good job, Dave.
What's that?
Have a water shot.
Oh, all right. I'm going to go from memory. These four guys, a doctor, a priest, a young man, and a lawyer were on a leisurely afternoon flight. Suddenly, the plane developed engine trouble, and as hard as the pilot tried, he could not fix the airplane. Get it to run the way he wanted to. So he grabbed his parachute and said, listen, this plane's going down. I'm getting out. There's only 3 other chutes. You guys are on your own. And he jumps out. First, the doctor stands up and says, I'm an important fellow. I save people's lives. I'm going to take a chute. He grabs one and he jumps. Next, the lawyer jumps up and says, I'm a very smart person. I'm the smartest person on the flight. I'm going to take a chute. And he grabs one and jumps out. The priest says to the young man, says, listen, I've lived a long life. I've done a lot of good. I've seen a lot of things. You've got your whole life ahead of you. You take the last chute, and I'll go down with the plane. The young man says to him, listen, old timer, the smartest man on the plane just grabbed my backpack and jumped. It's too First off, if I've got some better stories, because I spent a few years living in Florida with Dana. There's a bar across from our old office. If you walked in there tonight, I guarantee 90% of the people that are sitting there are in the same spots they were 20 years ago when I lived there. And the only thing missing is the bartender who used to cover for us when we stayed too long and got in trouble and didn't go home soon enough. But certainly it was well-deserved, Dana, and congratulations. We certainly appreciate all your contributions. As I promised Chris, and Tim's been nice enough to let us use a microphone that actually works tonight, I'm going to end my comments. Again, enjoy the rest of your night. Tim's going to be playing here for a little bit longer. Enjoy it. And thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you next year. It's great to see everyone.